What's going on? Welcome back to the vlog. Kyle Thain here, aka Mr. Thain, and this is the week in the life of a teacher. That was a weird thing I did with my weekend. So, this week was unique. It was different in that I only actually taught for 3 days. Well, let me just rewind. It was actually a red ribbon week or homecoming week, whatever. So every day was a different theme, and Monday started off and it was like sports day, so it was fun. I got to wear my jersey. Monday was pretty good. Today's Monday, and it's also Spirit Week, and here I am being all spirity. It's got my Blackhawks jersey and my Bulls hat. It's sports day. I had to wear my hockey jersey today because one of my students, he was wearing his Washington Capitals jersey. So I'm like, we gotta be rocking it. We gotta be twinning it up today. Anyways, makes for a fun, chill day when I'm comfy in my big old sweater. Anyway, today was as Monday as a Monday could possibly get. But I'm gonna tell you something that I'm gonna be doing on the way home. It's a practice that I've started doing. At times in life, especially at teaching, we can become prisoners of the moment. What I mean is, you attach a word to a day or an event based on what you're feeling like right now. So the last 20-30 minutes of the day were kind of a hot mess. So initially I'm like, oh my god, today sucked, right? But it didn't suck. I have to go back and reflect and look at all the good things that happened. I had a couple of students today who just were an absolute mess today. Just a mess. They just were not ready to learn at any point today. It was just not good for those students. But my other students were fine. So it's going back and thinking of the parts of the day where I was like, man, that was tough. It didn't go well. I have to go back and think, okay, A, what happened that set the student off or that made them not do the right thing? And try to remember what were the other kids doing. And if I go back and reflect, I was able to do guided reading and guided math today. I got through all my groups, and I believe everybody learned, despite the 2 students who are not doing the right thing and who are quite honestly making it hard for everyone else because of their actions and decisions. And so as teachers, we gotta make sure that we're not always saying, oh, today was the worst, because it probably wasn't the worst. You gotta think about the good things that happened and be reflective and say, okay, when my student had a meltdown, what led up to it? Maybe what did I say? What did he say? What did someone else say? Because it's really hard to get into it in the moment when emotions are flying. And, you know, it was one of those situations today where the student needed to be removed from the classroom because not only was he affecting everybody else's learning, but he was affecting my attitude. And I was not in a position, I needed him out of the room. So that's not normally a consequence that is delved out. I don't like to use that one often because I don't want kids to think that they can just get out of the classroom if they misbehave. But it was the situation where that needed to happen. And, you know, I usually, anyway, it didn't ruin the day. My kind of attitude towards today was, I'm going to give a direction. I'm going to narrate the students that are doing it right, and I'm going to reward the students who are doing it right. And if a student chooses not to stand up and come to the carpet when the other kids do, they're making a choice, and I can't force them to do it. I can only react to what they do. So my reaction was, okay, I'm just going to ignore it. They're going to have their consequence later. I will let them know that, you know, I'll let them know privately, if you don't come to the carpet like everyone else and participate in our learning today, your consequence will be this. And I followed through on it, and I did. But I did not get upset. I avoided the power struggle, and I made sure to reward everyone that did comply with a verbal affirmation. Thank you all for coming to the carpet. You guys are ready to learn. You know, I made it obvious what I wanted them to do, and it was clear that when the student had a consequence later on, the other kids knew why. I just want to make sure my students know that when a kid's not listening to what I'm saying, something simple like come to the carpet, that they're not being allowed to do that. They're just being ignored because I want to teach, kind of thing. Anyway, that was Monday in a nutshell. Following up Monday with Tuesday, you know, Monday was pretty good, but I can honestly say that Tuesday was probably the worst day that I've had all year, and the worst day I've had in a while. And I mean, the type of day where you get home and start Google searching second career options for teachers, and then looking, that was kind of my day. I had just had a terrible day. And upon, you know, reflecting like crazy on it, you know, the classroom environment is so fragile, and I have 19 students, so a very reasonable number. I'm not gonna lie, a very reasonable number of students. I would say that I have a group of students this year that I've got a handful that are very high needs, and 4 out of 5 days a week, those students are fine. And normally, you know, a student can be having a bad day, right? It's when 3 or 4 students have a bad day on the same day that it can become a nightmare. And that's kind of what my day was on Tuesday. My normal child who gives me problems was having a bad day, per the usual. And then 3 other students. One student who sometimes can be a little bit of much on behavior-wise, but then 2 other kids that have never been an issue ever had a difficult day as well. So that was 4 or maybe 5 students that were just struggling with following directions, staying in their seat, just a bad day. And you know, as a teacher, it can be quite frustrating when all you want to do is talk or teach, and you can't because you're dealing with little behaviors all day. Anyway, it was just a terrible, awful day, and the reason why I'm saying that is because this is my 6th year in kindergarten, and I still have terrible days like that. I mean, they're going to happen, and what I take from that day is something that I say a lot, but I often find myself needing to be reminded of it. I can't control anyone. I can't control any students. I can't control any other people. But what I can control is how I react. And something that I'm personally working on this year now is not getting upset. And it's easier said than done, you know, when you are doing everything in your mind in the moment the right way, or what you perceive to be the right way, and it's still not working. But this week was really about Wednesday. Wednesday, Kristen and I, my wife Kristen and I, had got some amazing news. Hello! We just got back from our, what do you call it, ultrasound appointment or whatever, and ba-bow! There's a baby inside there. Yep. It's a life form growing, if you can, hang on, let me show you. So it's, there it is. Part of that blob is our offspring, is our child that's one day gonna change the world. So that really turned around the whole week. I'm gonna be a dad, so I can't be upset about anything. I'm gonna be a dad. Very exciting. And then Thursday we had a pumpkin patch field trip, and it was amazing. We were the only school there, and my one student who was giving me trouble, he did not get to go with us for his behavior reasons and stuff. So I had you know, we all as a class had a wonderful day. I did not have to do any disciplinary actions or anything. It was just a fun day with the kids, seeing them outside of the classroom environment and just hanging out, and it was a blast. But I was exhausted. And then that brings me to today, which is Friday, and we had Alice training today. We had no students, we had Alice training PD all day today. And if you're not familiar with Alice training, it's basically the evolution of lockdown procedure when it's like an active shooter situation. And it could not have come at a better time with recent events in Las Vegas and other things like that. It was very informational and intense, but we walked away with a lot of knowledge. And basically what Alice is, I forget the acronym, but the idea is, no more lockdown, hide the kids, duck and cover, because then you're just sitting ducks. And the idea behind Alice is action. We are given power as teachers to make the best decision for our students. If there's an active shooter on site or we're in danger, we have to decide if we're gonna stay, barricade the doors and fight, or if we're gonna leave, we're gonna run and flight, right? We have that option. It's basically using your better judgment to keep your kids safe. And we went through all these scenarios, and I just love the idea of, hey, if there's an active shooter who's breaking into your classroom, don't just sit there and wait for him to shoot. Compliance is deadly. You need to act. you need to fight back, you need to act on instinct. And one of the things we're taught to do is disorient or confuse the attacker, right? So if a student, if a bad guy or whatever gets in your classroom, have the kids throw stuff at him. I mean, because when you can't fire off a shot of a gun if something's being thrown at you, you're thrown off guard, make lots of noise, right? Confusion, because all of those, you know, the data from school shootings and mass shootings is when you stay and you hide, or if you duck and cover, you're a sitting duck. And in instances where people fight back or try to run, there's a lot less casualties. Anyways, it was very informational, and I took it to heart because the sad reality is we live in a world where that type of training is necessary, and now I have a good firm foundation on what I'm gonna do in given scenarios. So I feel really good about that training. But you know, it was just, overall it was a good week. Tuesday sucked, but I moved on. I caught myself when I got home. I was talking to Kristen about it, and it's like, I'm not gonna let this day ruin my evening, because I'm home now, and I had to, and especially now that I'm gonna be a dad. Kristen and I are having a baby. May 11th is the due date right now. I gotta really make sure I'm separating home and work, because I cannot have my day, I can't have my personal life affect my teaching, and I can't let my teaching affect my personal life. So that's my sort of advice to you as well, is try to get that balance in your life. So for the rest of this, so I wanted to also talk to you one little bit, I wanted to kind of just show you a couple things that I've been doing in the classroom. That are new. And so something that I've been doing is I've been putting student just drawings, not student work, just student drawings all around the classroom. And the reason why I've been doing that is because I want the students to have some sense of ownership of the classroom. This is not my classroom, this is our classroom. This is our house. This is where we live during the school year. And I want a piece of them everywhere. And you know, as much you can do to get your students to buy into the classroom community type thing, where it's not just some static room that they come to every day, but this is my classroom. Having ownership, whatever you can do to make that happen is invaluable. Student work, student pictures, whatever. The next step that I'm coming up with is I'm going to start the process of taking pictures of the students and then getting them developed and putting them in the classroom. So students can literally see themselves in the classroom. I've seen teachers in the past get like big blown up like poster size and get them and put them over, and let me tell you, that just does a world of difference for the climate of the classroom when the students are the focus in the center. And that's something that I'm going to be trying to get better at as the school year continues on. But let me just tell you, like, last week I was talking about teaching being a roller coaster, and this week was just no different. It is, God, you've got to have things outside of teaching to make you happy as well. I find so much fulfillment in my job in teaching, but at the same time, you've got to have something else. You have to have a hobby or friends or something else to look forward to during the week, so you're not just drudging on through the week and you're not staying at school so late every day. It's just a huge thing, especially now that we're getting deep into, we're starting really to get into the thick of fall. It's gonna get dark early, especially here in the Midwest. It's like 5 o'clock and it's going to be dark soon, and you know, depression and winter blues, it's a real thing. So I urge you to just really sort of search and find things that you can do during the week that can get you out of the house, or that can get you out of the school and look forward to, because here we go. This is the part of the school year that can really take a toll. I know we've got Thanksgiving and Christmas break coming up, but man, the winter, it can be tough. So stay focused on you, and everything else will fall into place. So I'm looking for next week to do more focus on stuff that I'm doing in the classroom, lessons I'm teaching, my guided reading. I'm going to talk more about that. This week was just kind of weird because of the field trip and not having school today, and then obviously the craziness that was Wednesday with Kristen and I having our ultrasound appointment. So next week is going to be more focused on the instruction that I'm doing in the classroom, if you're interested in that at all. If you have any questions about any of that or anything I talked about today, please comment down below. I'll try my best to get to you. And usually on Mondays I try to do a Q&A video some type, so I try to come around full circle and answer those questions on video form as well. So I hope you guys had a great week, and I hope you have a great weekend. Love you guys. Find your gift, share it with the world, and remember, you are worth it. See you tomorrow.